I've never done coaching to get recognition. There's times where I've gotten a message from a parent or a former player of mine. How can you not get teary-eyed hearing those messages? Amazing.
On that note, I want to show you a little clip.
And I'm grateful of you because you teach me everything.
You are an amazing coach. Thank you for everything, coach.
Decided to give a chance on me. And I'm forever grateful for that. And I'm forever going to take that opportunity and continue to work hard, continue to up my confidence, and continue to be a better person.
Hey there, and welcome to the Woodburn Podcast, where we believe every story matters and every neighbor has something worth sharing. I'm your host, Gilbert Lopez. I'll be sitting down with local business owners, community leaders, and hometown heroes right here in Woodburn. You'll discover amazing people in your own backyard and feel more connected to the community we call home. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Woodburn Podcast to be the first to know about new episodes and announcements. Welcome back to the Woodburn Podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Coach Marco Chacon, Woodburn native, youth soccer coach, creator of Coaching with Marco, and the new head soccer coach for Gervais High School.
So I'm excited to be here, Gilbert.
Thank you for coming. I want to start the podcast with some icebreakers.
Okay.
What is your favorite soccer club?
Favorite soccer club is Portland Thorns.
Is there a backstory to that?
I'm just a big fan of women's soccer. I love being able to watch them. The NWSL has the best players in the world, and it's the U.S. women's national team, the jersey I'm wearing. They're the best team in the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Messi or Rolando?
I go with Messi.
Messi.
My son hates Messi, but like I said, he can't deny the resume at this point.
No. The GOAT. Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, 1A, 1B, as we were speaking earlier about
Yep.
that too.
Yep. Just his mindset's different.
I'm a huge basketball fan. I love basketball. But I always think about it like this. Like LeBron, I think he's one of the GOATs. But if you shrink him down to like our height, like a lot of his game is based off power. A Kobe, you shrink him down, he is technique. So
Yeah.
for me, it's always going to be Kobe.
How about favorite restaurant in Woodburn?
Abby's legendary pizza. I
Okay.
love it. My guilty pleasure. Sometimes I feel embarrassed because I try not to have it every week, but there's times where we don't know where to go, and I'm like, let's go to Abby's. But for sure, también second option is always Luis's Taqueria. My
Okay.
friend Montserrat owns it, her and her husband, so we love going there. So if it's not there, it's Abby's.
Favorite basketball team or player?
Kobe Bryant. Ever since he passed away, unfortunately, it's the same thing. I don't really have a favorite team anymore. But, of course, always like having the Blazers do good. When they do good, it's fun. So I guess I would say the Blazers.
Okay. I want to talk about your new position you accepted. Can you walk me through that?
For
Or
Gervais?
Gervais, yeah.
Oh, man. I got to give a shout out to one of our teachers here in the middle school, Mr. Ruiz.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually reached out to me. I don't want to put any type of blame on anybody, but I had worked as a coach for the Woodburn School District,
Okay.
and I just didn't have a good experience. Some things that I just didn't agree with, but I also saw some really good things.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out. Like I said, I was grateful for the opportunity. I was a little kind of like, well, I coach club, I coach basketball too. So I kind of kept away from coaching for school, right?
Yeah.
But Mr. Ruiz, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, did you see that Gervais has an opening? And honestly, I was like, no, I don't, because I wasn't checking.
Right.
He, of course, gave me words of encouragement. With time, I was like, you know what? Let me do it. Had an interview with the athletic director and the manager of the office for the athletic director. Had a really good interview. I think we all agreed we were all on the same page about what we want, making sure we put the school first and then the sport, and how do we build the program back up. They made it clear they want to help the soccer program.
Okay.
And yeah, we went from there. They called me a couple weeks later. They offered me the position, and now we're about a couple weeks from starting our first season together, and I'm really excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. So you develop younger kids, and now you're going to be working with kids that are a bit older.
Yeah.
What are the challenges you've seen in high school compared to working with youth?
This is my first actual high school gig,
Mhm.
but I've done the middle school and then elementary, so I've done kind of the middle. But it's the same thing. I think for me, my coaching that I've seen is kids want someone they can relate to.
Right.
I mean, of course, it does change, but it was the little ones, I mean, their attention span and what they like is a lot different. pero también with the older ones, what I've seen the success, we've only been together for a while, but it's the same thing that I recall when I was younger. Like, hey, I want to play. I'm excited to play with my friends. And for me now is just being able to connect the dots and being able to be like, all right, let me make it fun for you guys, but let me add what I bring to the table, which I'm huge into accountability and discipline and making sure that, like, hey, if we're going to do something, it's going to be 100%. It's not going to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, so I'm excited. Like I said, it's going to be very fun. I'm very grateful for the whole Gervais School District for believing in me.
Yeah, they're our neighbors.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we like to support each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I saw that you did an interview with Leroy Sanchez.
Yeah, Leroy.
It was a really good one.
Thank you so much. Leroy is an amazing individual.
He is.
Yeah, yeah.
He is. And so when I first hit play, your intro was a bunch of like newspaper articles.
Yeah.
And dude, I saw so many of my old classmates, Francisco Ibanez, Henry Estrada,
Yeah.
Jaime Garcia, Keith Binder, Cesar Garcia, Oscar Lopez, your brother Ricky.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to mention a few. Dude, it just brought back so many memories.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And that's amazing. I'm happy to hear that. Porque I did get a couple DMs from people that said the same thing. And that's the beauty también, porque Leroy and my older brother are the same age. So my dad coached Leroy también. So all those names that you mentioned are familiar names to me too. And I always said it and I explained it to Leroy too. I love people being able to watch it and get those type of memories, porque that's the influence that they played on the next generation coming up. I was really happy. I know Leroy, like I said, amazing individual. He was very happy, not only with the interview, pero también when we were speaking, I know he was like, man, you made me feel like a little bit famous and that I mattered. And I'm like, Leroy, you do matter. You did so much for this community and you continue to do so much. So
Yeah, you brought a bunch of championships. It was really neat to watch that and to see my fellow classmates. Just shout out to them.
yeah, it goes by quick, no?
It
Seeing
does.
those, I'll add a quick little story to it. Those names that you name dropped right now, I remember I was in elementary school, and I always tell people social media wasn't as popular as it is now. So it wasn't the same, okay, oh, I'm going to stream this today. So usually when the community had nothing to do, they would go support the games. I know they still do, but back then it just felt a lot different.
Yeah.
I remember in school, everybody like, oh, who's going to be at the game? And all the teachers, the brothers, the siblings, and then we would go. And it was amazing because you would see them warm up, and these little muchachos, including myself, are name dropping these kids. So, like, we knew who they were, and then you would get to play, and then you go and you watch a competitive game. Like I said, all those names that built their own legacy here in Woodburn.
Yeah,
También.
yeah.
And that kind of comes full circle because I always tell people is that you never know the influence you're playing on someone, because a lot of those guys probably do remember me, but as like, oh, that's Ricky's little brother, but a lot of them probably don't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, they still played an influence that subconsciously played the impact of creating Coach with Marcos.
Yeah. It's just a reminder that you never know who's watching.
Yeah, 100%.
Little did they know they made a big impact without them even realizing.
Yeah.
And look at you, what you're doing now with your career. Can you about little Marco sitting in the stands just watching those celebrities out there in the fields?
Right.
Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question. Shout out my brother Ricky. Obviously, he did so much in his youth career. And I got to witness it firsthand because my dad's training sessions were intense. I call my dad Mr. Miyagi. He doesn't coach anymore, but I always pick his brain. And I'm like, Dad, what do you think? And of course, with time, my dad's changed his answers a little bit. But I do recall being a little kid, and just like anybody, it was always like, man, I can't wait to go out there and represent Woodburn as well. But for me, the story was a little bit different.
Okay.
I always wanted my dad to be able to put the same time and effort into my brother that he did with me. Unfortunately, my dad never did.
Okay.
And I think knowing that my siblings, they set the standards so high for the sport that I shied away from it. And I decided not to play. So
Okay.
I ended up picking up a basketball instead. The passion, I think, was still there.
Yeah.
It just stayed hidden for years up until I started coaching again.
Fast forward now that you're older, using that experience, what did you learn?
That time means everything. And putting your time and effort into your child, but also understanding there's no right or wrong, but being able to keep a healthy balance of let's be competitive, but let's make sure you're being a kid también, because I've seen it and it works out fine. Like I said, I don't want to say there's one right or wrong, but
Yeah.
I've seen it sometimes where parents are super, super strict on the kids.
Yeah.
And I get it too, because I think I could be too.
Yeah.
Pero también I always make sure one day of the week, like, hey, I don't want to talk about sports. You be a kid, let's just do fun things. And I also try to make with my teams fun, try to find that healthy balance of how to do it.
I love that you say that because I grew up around coaches that are just so hard on them.
Yeah.
They just push them away from the sport.
Yeah.
And there has to be a good balance. I'm your dad
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Then your coach.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that you mentioned that too, because I've seen it as well. Don't get me wrong, I make my mistakes because it's a learning process for me too.
Right.
But there's times where I feel like when I first started, I had a great support system. Obviously, my wife, one of my assistant coaches, I remember when I would get maybe a little too frustrated and I would put maybe some unrealistic expectations for my son at his age.
Okay.
And I remember they had to kind of be like, hey, the whole team is playing bad, but you're taking it out on him. So you just need to take a step back. And thankfully, también, at the time, you probably don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But you take back and you're kind of like, hey, like what you mentioned right now, Gilbert, that is so true, 100%. The kid has to come first. They have to understand, okay, I'm your dad, but when we're playing, I'm going to do the best that I can, but I'm never going to over push it on you. Because at the end of the day, I always tell him, and I let me know, like, we'll push as hard as you want, but that goal that you have is never going to be my goal. My goal is to help you get there, but I'm not going to be like, hey, you need to be, because that's what I want for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so thankfully, te digo, mi hijo loves soccer so much. No se enfada.
Yeah. Okay. That's so cool. So this weekend, it's a big weekend for you guys.
Yeah, big weekend.
So what does it mean for you to be able to coach at the Fiesta Mexicana here in Woodburn in front of your hometown?
It means a lot. For me, when I think about Fiesta Mexicana, I might be biased, but for me, the Fiesta Mexicana tournament is the best tournament Oregon has to offer.
Yeah.
A mixture of football, music, rides, good people, but most importantly, great food. It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
I know we were talking a little bit off camera. For me, this tournament is very special. Thankfully, I've had the opportunity to coach these muchachos for about 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
And we've made it to the finals 17 times. And we've won 10 championships. We've lost 7 finals. And unfortunately, we've never won a Woodburn tournament. So we always come up short, and we're hoping that elusive championship in our hometown, we're finally able to do it. So I'm hoping if we win or lose, the outcome at the end of the day, it is what it is, because we're continuing to develop. But of course, it would be nice to see if we can bring that actual title.
Yeah.
For the first time. I know it'd mean a lot for the kids.
Yeah.
They've been working hard at it.
So you guys play on Friday.
Yes, Friday, 2 games on Saturday, and then a Sunday morning game. And depending how the bracket works out, if we do move on to the final, it would be like, I think 145 around there. So yeah, so I'm excited. I'm hoping it's a good turnaround. Like I said, tomorrow we get started.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be there supporting you guys.
Yeah.
So I saw that you were on the podcast Salem.
Yeah, El Podcast Salem. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job, guys.
Yeah, shout out El Podcast Salem.
So I was able to listen to it, and something that actually caught my attention when you mentioned something about Woodburn is known about state championships.
Yeah.
Like,
Soccer town.
it's a big soccer town. But when it comes to sending kids to a 4-year college, like, are we not prepping them with academics for a 4-year?
Yeah, I don't recall if I had mentioned it on the actual podcast, but I have a friend who went to a 4-year college, and he did amazing and has a great career thanks to his degree that he got. Every age group continues to bring in amazing talent, but we don't hear those backstories of, hey, they made it big, or they went to a 4-year college, as you mentioned.
Right.
And I remember I had asked my friend, and I was kind of like, hey, you played college soccer all 4 years. Obviously, you had a great time. And I remember I asked him, I was like, hey, when you were a senior, how much seniors were on your team? I believe he said 11. And I was like, hey, how much kids do you believe could have played college? Me expecting him to be like, no, only me. Like I was the only one. And no, he said all 11 of them. And he's like, unfortunately, that he was kind of the only one eligible due to grades. That's the thing, too. To answer your question, Gilbert, I don't know how to answer that, porque it has to be a group of people, from the parents to the kids to a strong school district that encourages it. I know what the standard is for the OYSA.
Okay.
It's pretty low.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a 2.0 based off what I understand is what it is. And I get it that sometimes there's some circumstances that we can't control.
Yeah.
Pero también you'd be surprised sometimes when you hold kids to a higher standard, how much they're able to accomplish. And kids are smart. I always use this example. You have a kid and you send him to go clean his room.
Yeah.
I highly doubt he's going to get every little dust as there and mop and everything. I'm sure it's going to look nice, but not as clean as it could be. But I bet you if you'd be like, hey, mijo, I want you to clean your room. This is what I need you to do. They're going to do it. And the thing is, I feel like it takes the whole group. It has to be the school district, the coaches, the players, but I mean the parents. And I understand too, like I said, the school district, I mean, sometimes in a tough situation, porque sometimes parents would be like, oh no, pues ponte a trabajar or something.
Yeah.
And it's tough because, I mean, being able to balance both can be very difficult at times. For me, this is how I do it. And like I said, there's no right, there's no wrong. But for me, with my team, the soccer team that I've had for about 4 years,
Yeah.
thankfully, myself, along with our coaching staff, are always on the same page of how do we make an impact on these kids' life and make it clear that the sport is always going to come second. But what we do is that we always tell the parents, and again, it's always being appreciative of the parents because they need to buy in también. And for me, what I've seen too is that we do grade checks. Like, we'll do it. Like I said, not required, but you go out of your way and be like, hey, can you tell me the grades? Can you tell me when these kids get in trouble? Can you please tell me? And of course, I understand there's some people that might be like, hey, that's none of your business. Pero también it's being able to see it the other way, that sometimes these coaches can make an influence on these kids to really help them stay on the like a straight and narrow path. And also kind of be like, hey, if I do all my work, I'm going to get good grades. If I get all my good grades, I'm eligible to play. If I do what I need to do, all of a sudden, hey, there's opportunities for you to go elsewhere. And that's the thing, too, that I've been installing it on them since they were second graders. So I consistently do logs to make sure they're doing their homework. And now that they're starting middle school, I mean, nothing's going to change. Now I know the behavior is going to start creeping up. So thankfully, the parents that we have is that we always, whenever their kids are acting up, they'll have a private conversation and ask. Of course, you always go based off what the parents want to do, and as they, and just hold the kids a little bit accountable and being able to be like, hey, what's going on? Talk to me, and then going from there. And I think for me, we found a lot of success in that. And like I said, not only me, but the amazing coaches that we have, on our team. There's 3 of us there, so we're all on the same page. School has to come first at all times.
Yeah, I love how you're a big advocate for academics.
Yeah.
You know the word student athlete?
Yeah.
Student
comes first.
comes first.
Yeah.
I talked to my niece. She's a wrestler. And I was like, it doesn't matter. You're a 4-time state champion. But if you don't have a proper GPA, like, college won't want you.
Yeah.
Because they want student athletes.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, I love how you're a big advocate for school.
Yeah, and then for me, for that one, real quick, Gilbert, to give you a little bit more, I graduated with a 1.8. Porque I was huevón. I wasn't doing my homework. I knew the bare minimum that I had to do. And I remember, and it happens too much, I understand people have goals, but I hate it when you graduate or you're in your senior year and they make it seem like you need to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And for me, of course, I lied to myself and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and realistically, but it's because I didn't have the self-discipline. I didn't have the needs that I felt like, hey, I can achieve where I really set my goal to. Thankfully, things worked out for me. But at that age, you asked me at age 17, 18, it was a scared little kid that had no options. And at the end of the day, it's just like any school. They keep coming. So when you're done and be like, oh, thank you, here comes the next batch. So I've always done it. Like, I always told myself, when I'm going to get into coaching, it's always going to be school, because I want these kids to understand, like you mentioned, talent won't carry you alone. Every kid wants to be good. You have to understand that. I always go back to it. If kids want to dream big and say, oh, I'm going to be professional, yes, let them dream as big as you can, but also understand that the sport is a resource to be able to get you to a good career. And so for me, like I said, it's just, I always put it like, what do I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger to make a bigger impact? And for me, it's always getting into these kids. I always say this, as they're hard-headed. You have to say it, and people, my friends will laugh at me sometimes and be like, don't you ever get tired of telling them? I was like, no, because if I have to tell someone 100 times, but that one time they listen, and that changes their life, then that's the biggest win as a coach that you do.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I love that quote. So I like how you said, too, how you're becoming the person you wish you had growing up.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Because, man, growing up in Woodburn can be hard.
Oh, 100%.
And having just a coach
Yeah.
being there for you, the reason I get teary-eyed is because my wrestling coach changed my life.
Hmm.
And little did he know, like, he made me the type of person I am today. And now these kids that you're coaching, they're looking at you.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Going back to it, Damian Gilbert, it makes me happy because there's a lot of great people in this community.
Mhm.
For me, I felt like I didn't have anybody, but it wasn't because no one was there for me. Like you mentioned, growing up in Woodburn is really, really hard. It's interesting how some people, and I don't want to say it because I don't ever want to downplay people's problems,
Mhm.
but there's times where people's problems are pretty small compared to some other people. And for me, growing up in high school, in a situation where I failed in every way possible. And as a young athlete, when you're so competitive, you have this mindset that, nope, this is the goal. This is what it's going to be when it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
No one teaches you how to be able to handle your emotions. And unfortunately, I love my parents, but at that time, if you look up what a broken home was, is what I was growing up with.
Mhm.
I had situations too where like sometimes I get teary-eyed too because I had to deal with struggles that are pretty personal that I wish I had someone to tell me like, hey, you're going to be okay, or hey, you have potential, don't quit on yourself. And for me, like, I don't blame anybody, porque at the end of the day, también, I felt like I didn't know how to ask for help, but deep inside, the child in me was screaming for help, being like, hey, I need your help. I just didn't know how to ask for it. And growing up in the high school career, feeling like a failure, being at home, hating being at home, hating what was happening with my family, and then feeling like a failure at home, looking at your grades, nothing but Fs, makes you feel pretty low. And for me, it comes back full circle that even though I didn't have it, and I'm sure there was people that were amazing, it's just for me, I just didn't know how to connect with them, that I look back at it now, I hated the way I was when I was younger because I didn't know any better. But looking back as an adult, I'm grateful to God because I feel like I need to learn that to have the passion that I have now. So that now I've ran into kids that hear their life story and I get emotional too because I could relate. I can be empathetic with that kid to be like, hey, I know it's hard, but don't give up. Keep playing the sport, keep doing it to keep them out of trouble. And it's just a shame. Sometimes I feel like kids have a lot of emotions. And sometimes adults will be like, you're a kid. What problems do you have? But in all reality, we probably can't relate to, but it means a lot to them.
It does.
And sometimes in sports, you're able to keep that kid engaged. And for me, it goes back to the sport being the resource. If this kid can be like, man, I put my heart and efforts into that sport and look what I accomplished. Imagínate when they get a career, when they go in a job and they put that same effort and energy. I'm always grateful to God for those lessons porque it allows me to share that with the kids and be able to relate to them as well.
And going back to Leroy, he says something on the interview. Soccer sometimes is even a therapy for these kids. And he also talked about how a coach can become like an older brother or even a father figure.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I feel like it goes with coaches, educators, anybody that works in a school district. It is a privilege to work with kids. For me, it's always like, how do we utilize that resource to the best of our ability to make a positive impact on the kids? And like Coach Leroy had mentioned about that, yes, sometimes it is that therapy for the kids.
Yeah.
I've had it también where you love that sport so much, that's kind of your only piece that you have. And sometimes what happens is no one's to blame, but when you play varsity sports, they're looking for the best players. And sometimes some kids have the talent, they just can't perform when it actually matters. And unfortunately, those kids get cut. So those kids that have that passion and that dream all of a sudden becomes, oh, well, the only thing that I have a passion and love for rejected me. That's where those kids can kind of get left in dust. And for me, I'm grateful, which is interesting because I'm very strict with my kids. And I always start with the older ones. I set a standard. And I always let them know we're not friends and we're never going to be friends. However, I'm like, I hope you guys naturally see that I care about my kids. And if I can be a coach, and I don't ever have to hear it, but if I can have a coach and be like, man, my coach was tough on me, but he cared about me. He really made me believe that I could achieve something. then they pass it on to the next generation.
Mhm.
So to kind of answer your question, Gilbert, it goes back to it. It's an amazing feeling, even though sometimes you don't hear it. Sometimes you do hear it, and when you hear it, oh man, it does feel amazing. Like I said, I've never done coaching to get recognition, but there's times where I've gotten a message from a parent or a former player of mine, and it's how can you not get teary-eyed hearing those messages? And it's amazing.
That note, I want to show you a little clip.
These are my middle school boys.
The-
Me as well.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful of you because you teach me everything. You push me like to the max every day. And you know, you're one of the reasons I got better at this sport. And I just want to say thank you. And thank you for all you did for me and the team. Thank you so much. Almost.
Thank you for always pushing us, believing in us, and supporting us.
Dear Coach Marco, for these couple months, I've been thinking of how appreciative I am of your hard work and patience and the time you take off and how you make us push ourselves to become better, to reach higher levels and making us better. This was my first third club, and you were the best coach for it. And this month, you made us win our first tournament, and I hope we win our next tournament. Thank you, Coach Marco, for everything you've done.
Hi, Coach. Thank you, Coach. I'm really grateful that you always come to practice and teach us things that help us to become better person and player. You're the reason why I practice more often and I give my best in the field.
Bye, Coach. Coach, I wanted to say that I'm super grateful for you taking time out of your day to come practice and our games and pushing us to our limit also. I'm super grateful for helping me improve these past months. Thank you for everything, Coach.
I am grateful for Coach Marco because he's a coach that has really pushed me to my limits to try to get better, and that's what I'm grateful for.
Dear Coach, I am appreciative on how you take your time out of your day and make it to train us and be at our games. You have helped me improve my goalkeeping on how you coach. Your coaching is so good that you helped us win our first tournament in 3 months. And the thing that I love that you do is how you come to our games and give us the mentality to play as hard as we can. You are an amazing coach. Thank you for everything, Coach.
I want to thank you, Coach, for always being there for me and my team. Thank you for always pushing us to our limits, being there for us, win or loss. And thank you for everything you've done for this team.
Dear Coach, I want to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate everything you do for me and the team. Thank you for your time, patience, encouragement, and dedication. You have always pushed me to work harder and believe in myself even when I doubt what I can do. You have taught me so much more than skills and sports. You have taught me about discipline, teamwork, and never giving up. Your support and guidance have made a meaningful difference in my life, and I am grateful to have you as my coach. Thank you for believing in me, challenging me, and helping me become a better athlete and person. I truly appreciate everything you do for me.
Your Coach Marco, this was my first ever season of
Good, David. Such a great kid.
And I couldn't have asked for a better coach. You are, and I've had different coaches throughout school sports and stuff, but you are the most disciplined and hardworking coach. And your story really showed that you had explained to us, right? It really resonated with like a couple things in my life and how where to go extreme and take sports or to have someone believe in you, right? And at times, I don't feel like I believe in myself. I don't feel like I have my own proper, like, opportunity. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I have that confidence. And thank you for taking that chance on me and letting me still have an opportunity, right? For all I know, I could have had way less minutes. I could have been sitting on the bench because, like, I just thought I wasn't playing good enough. But turns out you decided to give a chance on me, and I'm forever grateful for that, and I'm forever going to take that opportunity and continue to work hard, continue to up my confidence, and continue to be a better person. Thank you, Coach. I could not have asked for a better and more motivated coach.
Hey, Coach Marco.
Man.
No, thank you so much.
Bro,
That's
how does that
amazing.
feel, dude?
Amazing. It kind of, like I said, it's a privilege to be able to work with those kids. And it kind of goes back to it, too, is the impact that you make on the kids. So I thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to all the parents. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Gilbert. Te digo, even in my coaching career, I get so much support here from a lot of people, and I'm always grateful. But I also get a lot of criticism
Mm-hmm.
from people, and regardless of what their opinions are of me,
Mm-hmm.
it's the influence you make on these kids.
Right.
And también, like I said, it's the relatability. I'm a huge believer is showing vulnerability, showing strength. I told them about my upbringings and my failures and my family struggles, and I was emotional the whole time. These kids have little problems like that
Yeah.
matter to them. So
Yeah.
if I can be some small piece of them being able to, like, man, I believe in myself. Man, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really neat. Again, thank you for the parent to send
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
So Josiah,
Uh-huh.
he's like my faraway nephew.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, man, he's such a great kid.
He-
All of them are, but Josiah is such a great kid, yeah.
So we had a get together over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and then he didn't know I was going to sit down with you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Hey, do you play this weekend?" Or he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." And he's so proud
Mhm.
of making the team.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, "Tell me about your coach." He's like,
Yeah.
"He's awesome."
Yeah.
I like playing for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josiah is such a good kid.
He's a good kid. All of them too. Like I said, Gilbert, thank you. That means a lot to me. Porque it's funny. The first practice, I would always come across maybe as a jerk,
Mhm.
but it's because I have to set that standard first and kind of be like, hey, we're gonna have a good season. You're gonna see that I care, but there's rules, expectations, and discipline that has to be there. Kids are amazing, but también they get too comfortable sometimes, and you have to make sure they respect you as a coach. También. My nephew plays on that team. And he was like, all the kids. Not that they don't like you, but they're scared of you. And kind of like, oh man, it's gonna be a rough season. And I was like, oh well, I feel like naturally they'll see how much I care for them, and that makes me happy. And Gilbert, like I said, seeing you get emotional too. I look back in my life, and like I said, there's times where I needed someone like that in my life, and I wish somebody would have been there for me. And there's times where, like I said, I get emotional just because for me, the sport meant so much, and getting declined every single time as a kid makes you feel worthless. And like I said, I'm getting emotional right now because it's the truth. I always say, like, the sport is beautiful and it'll make you feel like $1,000,000, but it'll also make you feel worthless if you don't have someone there. And for me, I had big dreams. I got cut and the coaches moved on. And like I said, there's no problem with that either. Pero también, like I said, these kids, I always tell them, like, this life goes by way too quick. And if you can go out there and really believe in yourself, you'd be amazed how much confidence. Little backstory. I remember for me, my sport was basketball, and going into freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
so much confidence. But like I told you, my siblings set such a high standard at soccer that I stepped away and I picked up a basketball. I didn't know how to play, and I wanted to learn. I was eager to learn, and for me, every single time I dribble, I didn't know the rules. I remember before Kobe, Allen Iverson was my favorite. And then slowly but surely, I started picking up a basketball, being creative and teaching myself how to play. Every time I went to an AAU tryout, I got cut every single time. And by the time middle school, I got pretty good at being self-developed. I still remember I told the boys that going into freshman year, I had this confidence to me. And the people around me that knew me, they're like, man, he's pretty good. I went into it, and this is where it goes back to the confidence. I know David had mentioned about that. I remember we were playing, I'm excited, I'm ready to play. I always played with a chip on my shoulder because I was like, man, for me as a player, it helped me to feel like, hey, I was a reject. I always got cut. I remember when I was elementary, I used to get bullied because my parents weren't financially stable enough to buy me the Jordans. So I was wearing nothing but Shaq shoes in Walmart. The kid that was poor and didn't know how to play wasn't a good combination. But that didn't matter no more once I got to middle school. High school season starts. I'm excited. I'm going to make varsity junior, sophomore year, big goals. And the first game comes, and I obviously, like anybody, you're expecting to be a part of the starting lineup. And I'm not. I'm like, okay. I'm like, the first quarter comes, and I'm still not subbed in. And the second quarter came in, it's halftime. I'm still not subbed in. Third quarter comes around. I'm like, well, okay, this is strange. I'm still not in. And then the game ended. I remember, for me, that broke my confidence because that kid that got bullied came out. I felt worthless again. So that whole season, I wasn't playing for fun anymore. I was playing to prove a point. And instead of playing for fun, I kept trying to, but this is what the coaches want to see. And then I would mess up. And then all of a sudden, since I lost my confidence, the smallest things bugged me. Oh, no, my shorts are way too tight. this jersey, I don't like how it feels. I then started making excuses. And slowly but surely, I ended up quitting. And like I said, just like a bunch of kids that I've seen in this community, the potential never went away. It's just a way to have someone to be like, no, hey, you're going to hit rock bottom, but how do we respond? How do we go up together? And how do I help you get that confidence back? And fortunately, like I said, the fact that I didn't have that, I'm grateful I didn't have it, because I could repeat my life 100 times. I would fail 100 times for these kids to have that confidence. And not just them, but like all the kids that I coach. It's how passionate I am about the kids in this community and the outside communities too. So,
Man, you're an amazing coach, dude. Woodburn, Gervais, very grateful to have a person like you.
it kind of comes full circle too. If you don't mind me giving a small shout out.
Yeah, dude.
My Cholos basketball club, the same kid who got rejected, I created my own AU basketball team. For me, it's always been like soccer does a really great job of having an A and B team. If there's enough, they'll make a C team. They keep the kids engaged, which I think is amazing. It keeps the kids playing, and it's like that everywhere. There's other clubs that will have 17 for each age bracket, which is amazing because the kids want to play, right? And they go, I felt like there was a huge area of opportunity for kids who like playing basketball too, but weren't good enough to be on the A team. And then like, hey, how can we make a B team and get kids that maybe, like I said, were like me. I was a late bloomer. I developed in middle school compared to like third or fourth grade.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like I said, my son loves playing soccer, but once it gets a little cold, he likes playing basketball too. And his friends, same with me, started with the interest. We're like, oh, well, I like basketball. I don't know how to play it. I'm like, perfect. If you want to learn, we're here to teach you. I got one of my best friends, his name's Irving, and so great with kids. The last 2 years have been able to teach these kids. And I always tell them, like, it's not about the wins and losses, because it's about how do we develop you? How do we help you, también, be better? Because I've also coached middle school basketball where these kids enter 7th grade and they don't know how to full court press. They don't know how to zone. They don't know how to run plays. And by the time you get to like middle school, like what I was, it's a little late because you already have a bunch of kids that know this as muscle memory. My friend Irving was like, this is kind of you healing your inner child. And it kind of goes back to it too. Like at the end of the day, it's for the community of Woodburn. Like the more kids we have playing, the better.
Yeah.
So like thankfully we get support from a lot of people that gives us donations, the churches that let us borrow the gyms, the parents and the kids that continue to play. Like I said, they have so much fun, and it always brings me joy. I don't do basketball as often, but when we do it around winter time, it always, part of me brings back that joy, because it goes back to, man, these are things that I wish I had. And like I said, I don't blame anyone ever, because I wasn't good when I first started playing. It always brings me back that pride and joy to be able to provide that second option, be like, yeah, we're the B team and that's fine. But like, how do we learn so that as they get older, there's more kids willing to put on that uniform for the high school and ultimately help out the high school too, because at that point, more kids play, the more you get developed. It's just really fun.
This episode is brought to you by Anytime Fitness of Woodburn. They are now offering personal training. So if you go in, use the code Woodburn Podcast, you'll get 50% off your enrollment fee. You can go into their location at 2247 Country Club Road, or give them a call at 503-984-0423. Tell me about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel, man, I'm so proud of it, along with my Instagram page too. But the YouTube page is something that I love doing. Can I give you a little bit of a backstory? Oh, yeah, it's right here. As I mentioned earlier in our conversation, I failed a lot. What can I teach? What can I teach kids? I never played varsity in any sport. So my insecurities when I first started coaching was kind of like, oh, man, what am I going to teach these kids? So I held back a lot. But with time, you find the passion, you figure it out. And I think now I found the fact that I'm relatable. I learned from where I messed up. I found a connection where I always say it, like as Kendrick Lamar said it, you can't fake influence. You cannot. With time, I started getting more comfortable with being like, hey, I know what I bring as a coach. It's not going to be the player background, but then I started seeing there's a lot of professional coaches that never played the sport too, you know? So with time came on, I have an amazing support system. I have to give a shout out to my wife. She would always tell me, hey, we had our Instagram page for our soccer team, but she was like, hey, you should do one for yourself. And I was like, and the insecurities again, you know, I knew the insecurity I just would be like, nah, I don't want to do it. But
Yeah.
I knew why I didn't want to do it. And she's like, no, you should try it. I really think you'd get that type of a good response. And I remember at that same time, El Podcast Salem had given us a donation. And también Alex, Ace Cooks Media, también was shooting a video. And I saw that they were active with their social media accounts. And I had told them, like, you know, advice. They just told me, like, hey, put yourself out there. They gave me great advice that I think I needed to hear at that time.
Okay.
That it kind of how you mentioned too, you never know the influence that people are making on you. Them three, along with other people in my life, gave me that first push to take that first step forward. And that first step forward is scary. And finally I did. And shortly after, I started seeing that the Instagram page was growing. And I had always told my wife about wanting to capture these memories for these kids and being able to highlight the community that obviously that you love, that I love. And I go back to my older sibling and Leroy and those guys that you mentioned. There is a lady named Loreto that would always record every game, and she used to give copies to everybody. And those memories, along with other people that I would talk, I love sports, people would tell me, and they're just memories. Oh, you have any pictures, videos? Oh, I think I have a couple, but that's it. And I told my wife, I was like, man, this life passes way too fast.
It does.
And I was like, just spitballing ideas. It started with a podcast idea, but then I was like, I kind of want to vlog. And she's like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, like kind of day to day. She's like, oh, I like that. And then she started giving me ideas. And then we went from there, and we started being like, hey, well, how do we do it? And again, it goes back to the insecurities that I had.
Yeah.
I had episodes lined up for 2 years that I held on to because I was too scared. Ideally, looking at it now, I was scared of nothing. But in my mind, I was like, oh, you know, who's going to want to watch? And so I remember Alex, the photographer, he had told me, he was like, hey, if you make something and 10 people watch it, that's 10 people who are interested in your product. So that's huge. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You know, instead of focusing on like, oh, how much people, I'm just going to start putting it out there. And thankfully, my wife, who edits, she bullies me because she will not let me edit. I mean, you saw it right now when you asked me for the mic. I didn't know how to fix it, but for me, I try to edit, and for me, it looks cool. And she's like, "Oh, she's like, you never do anything," and I'm like, "Oh, for help, you just don't want it." But she loves editing, even though sometimes she does get a little feisty with it. But yeah, we finally decided to put it out there. It's funny because I mentioned it in the podcast, Salem, along the ways of being like, hey, how is the vlog going to look? Because keep in mind, these episodes were from 2 years ago. We had the content and some episodes created, but we just had a bunch of memory cards with things.
Okay.
And we're kind of like, hey, how do we start putting things together? How is this going to look? How much episodes? What our topics are going to be? And I remember one time, and sometimes it happens when you're just driving, you start thinking about things. And I was like, you know what? There's so much people that have great memories and so much people that have done great things in this community. I was like, how can I do kind of similar what you were doing? How can I put it part of my series to be able to highlight people and coaches that do so much for the people in this community?
Yep.
And I kind of told my wife, and she's like, wait, so what? So you don't want to do the YouTube channel? You want to do a podcast? Like, no. It sounds weird, but I want to still do the YouTube channel, but one-offs every season, kind of stop the vlogging and be like, hey, we're going to present and just have a full-on conversation and get coaches that I see are doing a lot of things and have a sit-down, kind of like what we're doing. The advice that I give the people that come on my channel, I'm like, hey, regardless if people like you or not, if they both hear the interview and let's say they only like 2 minutes and they take it away, those 2 minutes are huge because you don't know that impact that could last. Oh, man, I didn't know Coach went through those struggles. I go through that too. And it just be able to connect people in Woodburn a lot stronger. So thankfully, we lined up things and being like, all right, thankfully, the whole YouTube, Coach Marco, I'm very grateful to see the 229 subscribers. We continue to grow, and I feel like I'm so grateful for this community, for the support that we continue to get. A huge, huge shout out from my wife for doing such an amazing job, and she's a huge believer in me. She saw something in me when I didn't even see it. It's a community too, because not only for the kids to be able to see it, but my boys to be able to look back and being able to be like, God willing, we get there. Being able to be in high school, or God willing, cuando tenga, kids, and be like, oh, look, this was me when I was young. Life does go by that quick. That's how we started the channel. And like I said, obviously, Leroy was a great interview. It's amazing. We have some sisters on there. Tea Time was the girls who do such an amazing job of recording and vlogging with us when we can, because we're trying to set something up for the Instagram page. So they're there. Obviously, the boys, my older boys are starting to get into the vlogging now. I want them to get excited. And then everybody who's open to coming on the channel to talk about it, to put into simple words, this was my love letter to the community that I love. I always take time for this, right here. And multiple episodes where it highlight other people's what they've done with their teams, and with the hopes to continue to grow and hopefully inspire people. I go back to my failures. Hopefully people see my platform, and thankfully in YouTube, I know we've reached tens of thousands of views. Instagram, we're reaching 500,000 views.
Wow.
That's someone who ideally I go back, didn't want to take that first step because I was scared of taking it. When I see these kids and hopefully they get inspired to be like, hey,
Yep.
not only does he look like me, he's from Woodburn.
Yep.
Those boys, I play sports too, and hopefully encourages them to continue to go out there, and hopefully maybe one day someone does a coaching with someone else and, kind of inspires someone.
This podcast, I was sitting on the idea for over a year too.
Yeah.
Yep. I had all my equipment, but it was so hard to hit record.
No, it is. And, and I appreciate that, Gilbert, too. And like I said, I watch your content. I love it, too, because, también, you're doing the same thing in regards of, but in the form of a podcast, that you love this community. And that's the thing, too, that you've said it. And I know we've mentioned it, that Woodburn is just so unique.
Yeah.
And yes, I know anybody can say that. I could say this is unique, but you could replicate that somewhere else and be like, hey, my town's unique. And if other communities can relate to it, we're ultimately reaching the goal of what we're doing. It's back to, like I mentioned, the love letter to the community that we love so much, that sometimes it could be tough, sometimes it could be hard, but we also love it so much.
We're so connected. Like, this
Yeah.
town is so connected.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
I was talking to my brother about, like, hey, it would be cool if your players did a video. And I was like, oh, but it's 2 days away. This is like on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He made one call. He was able
To
to
get, he got a good amount of the players. And I love that he did that. Like I said, thank you, honestly, so much for that.
Yeah. And then what's your social media handle? I know you're on YouTube,
And
Instagram.
Yeah. Coaching with Marco on both of them.
Okay.
No space. So, yeah, right here. It's Coaching with Marco.
Cool.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody that subscribes and follows the account. Every view, every positive, and even every negative comment, like, it means a lot, too, because it's ultimately reaching the goal of keeping the engagement.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice will you tell your younger self?
It's going to be a little bit of a different approach on that one. Two things is find God at an earlier age. I think for me, he went through a phase in high school where I was like, I don't believe. Porque I was like, if it does exist, why does everything keep happening to me? Why is it just when it's bad, it keeps getting worse? And that's just obviously the young age, not knowing patience. I love going to church. I go to church every week. And for me, I find so much peace being there. It allows me to kind of gather my thoughts. If I can go back and tell myself that with a combination of be patient. I don't think other than that, I would give myself too much advice because I go back to it, is that I think me having to go through those struggles ultimately made me who I am. 50 Cent says in a song, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. And I feel like that's very true because, again, we go back to this full circle moment. I would never trade in my experience for that video they showed me of those kids or any kids that I have positively impacted. I would rather have those kids live out their dream because I feel like if I lived out my dreams, I don't think I'd be the person I am today.
Wow. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
Wrapping up, what's your final message for people listening?
From final message, being able to never be scared to fail and always bet on yourself. With the sport, you're always so hesitant and you never know where you could reach if, one, you're not confident and you don't take that risk. Give a quick shout out. I love blood in, blood out. Life's a risk. It is. I have that tatted on me and it's true. It is. You have to take risks and you have to believe in yourself and not be scared to fail because we're going to fail in this life.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like sometimes us as adults and even kids, we get to a point where we're so scared to fail that we just don't try. And that's the thing, too. I wish kids, if they can get the message, to continue to really put yourself out there and give it your best shot. And if you fail, that's fine. How do you recover and continue to go while also being the best version of yourself that you can?
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch your career blossom.
Yeah.
And we'll be supporting you. I'm excited to watch you at Gervais High School. Keep doing what you're doing. You're
Thank
making
you
a
so
big
much.
difference. Just watching these kids, how much you mean to them.
Yeah.
It just fills my heart. Thank you for all the impact you're making in our communities.
Yeah. One more thing I do want to say is that thank you, Gilbert, for creating this platform. It makes me happy to be able to hear what your coach meant to you growing up. And ultimately, that's the belief that we do want on these kids. And if you want, I know you had mentioned, but if I can give one more message to the kids,
bro.
specifically to the kids, and I'll look into the camera when I say this, is that you have unlimited potential. And I hope you do understand that you do have unlimited potential. Believe in yourself and achieve your dreams. However, you always have to understand that you have to put school first. It has to be first. You have to put yourself in a successful situation to succeed. And at the end of the day, no matter how good you get, if there's one thing you could be in this world, please be kind. Take time. Sports brings a lot of amazing things, but it also brings challenges. And sometimes those emotions are very difficult to maintain. Sometimes people see the ugly side when you're a little too competitive. Learn how to be a little bit more compassionate and understanding towards one another. You don't know how much a smile can mean to someone. And if you are in a situation where you're a young athlete and don't know how to process emotions or process how to handle a bad performance, or you're just feeling negative, please never be shy to hesitate to reach out to the people that you love, family members, parents, anybody that you feel comfortable with, and tell them how you feel. I'm a big believer that showing vulnerability, showing strength, and at the end of the day, you always have to protect yourself physically and mentally. So you want to make sure that you're putting yourself out there by ultimately, like I said, protecting yourself at all times. So please make sure to spread the message, be kind to everybody, and you never know the impact you're making on people. And your actions speak very loud, and you never know. There could be little kids that watch you that you don't even know that you're inspiring. And ask yourself all the time, what impact do I want to make on hopefully everybody? And I'm seeing it a lot, but the way you handle yourself while you're playing and the way you handle yourself outside of the sport matters a lot, because you're ultimately impacting the next generation.
Wow. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate for stopping by.
It was a huge honor being here. Not only professionally, the way you have everything set up, the way you handled the interview, but thank you for even thinking of me for being on your podcast. More to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for listening to the Woodburn Podcast. If you enjoyed it, share it with a neighbor, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Woodburn Podcast. Until next time, stay safe and watch out for those potholes.